you just finished your presentation on the main stage, and so some people are here. This is the chill out zone. This is much less, much less formal. We're just hanging.
It's also in the shade.
Our accoutrement. Yes, we moved earlier because holy heck, I don't know about you, I'm burnt to a crisp. Being a redhead in Mexico is not working out for me, guys. It's not going well. So for you,
I'm better. I'm a little bit better because I've been 15 years in Israel, so
yeah,
I've had to acclimatize a bit.
You've had to kill all your nerve endings in your skin.
You know this?
No.
I'm an African.
Tell everybody your heritage.
I
Let's do it.
was born in South Africa, which makes me a card. Well, I'm no longer a card-carrying South African, but I was a South African. So I'm an African Jew.
All right, fair enough. So you at least are not going to burst into flames beside me as we're going. Perfect.
No.
That's not good. It's not good for ratings. Or maybe it would be. But so now you have just come through your presentation. You have so much stuff on the go. And all of them are really cool, and they all kind of tie in together. You can use them as a suite. But I think probably the one to start with is V4V.App. So, in this informal space, just kind of give people a heads up of what that is if they don't know what it is yet.
Okay. V4V.App. The name Value for Value is actually part of what I was just talking about in music, but we'll get to that. V4V.App is a simple way to use something called the Lightning Network. And the Lightning Network is a so-called layer 2 on Bitcoin.
Yes.
So-called, I say, because...
A little centralized-y.
Little centralized-y and becoming more centralized-y.
Yes.
But I chose to work with it a couple of years ago because I saw venture capital money heading that way.
Yes.
And I figured if we can just piggyback on that, we get to take their money, basically, and effort, and we get the use of it. So if they manage to build something called, some system that lets you buy pizza,
us too.
we get to use it very, very easily. And the thing that's different about Lightning is that it is fast. It's not as fast as Hive.
No.
And it's not as feeless as Hive. It has small, tiny fees, but mostly we hide those. And but it works. And you can buy things like eSIMs. You can buy prepaid US Visa cards. You see, I don't see it as a way of, it doesn't replace Binance. It doesn't replace, but you can send Lightning in and out of Binance now. So it doesn't replace, it's not a, what I've built is not a method of trading. I don't want anybody to be trading on it, but I want what it's best used for, and what most people are using it for is paying for pizza on a Saturday night. I've got one particular user. I know where you are. I know who you are because you told me. And pretty much
consensually,
with regularity, he does a particular transaction.
Heck yeah.
And I know that he's buying pizza.
That's fantastic.
Only because he's told me. I wouldn't know anything about it. Did he not tell me? But it's like, so that's his weekly pizza spent with a bit of HBD that he's earned on Hive.
Fantastic.
I see this happening in Venezuela and in Cuba. In Cuba, they were paying their electricity bills. Now someone sort of set it up to do it direct, which is better. I'd rather people were using HBD and Hive natively.
Yes.
But this helps bring and the last thing I did just before I came here was I created a new page in the app.
Okay.
And that's like a page for merchants to use.
Yes.
Where they can put in an amount, and they can put the amount in HBD, Hive, Sats, or a local currency. And
Fantastic.
there's a load of Mexican pesos and Polish zloty, and all of them are there. You know, even ridiculous currencies like the Canadian dollar.
Rude. Honestly, I don't think it's a real currency either. I think right now, if we're doing the exchange rate to US dollars, it's worth like 14 cents and some pocket lint. Roughly. Yeah.
And anyway, and then it just shows you a QR code. And if you're with someone in person, they just snap it with their phone, pay with Hive Keychain or another signing app. Ecency works too.
Fantastic.
But it also has it's got a little button there that says Lightning.
Yes.
So you can have Hive or Lightning, same thing. And so that's V4V.App.
Yep. Yeah.
And there's a DHF proposal, which I'm always looking for votes for.
Now's the time. Shill 'em. Go ahead.
And proposal 265, hit vote or unvote the return proposal if you... That would do the same. Look, that helps me a lot to dedicate as much time as I do.
Yeah.
And trips like to this, which is a heck of an extravagance. Especially from Israel. It's I can't compete with the Philippines guys or the New Zealand, but I came a long way.
You did.
Okay, but what I actually just talked about now is not on Hive.
Yes.
But the reason I talked about it here was because it's something I want Hive to do.
I think that's valid. I think that's what we should be doing, is always driving forward. So give them the old elevator pitch.
So what we've been working on in podcasting for a couple of years is being able to send value along with podcasts. You listen to a podcast and you send value, and people do this with Task and John Golson's, John G. Olson. Golson.
I call him Golson too, actually, in my head. I read it that way. Sorry, John.
John Golson. And people send them sats, and I convert it into Hive, and they get HPD.
Yeah.
Perfect. What we're doing now is doing that for music. So you publish your music. So an album is like a podcast.
Yes.
Each track is like a new episode. And you publish all the tracks and you publish the albums. And then there's a way of grouping albums by one artist.
Yes.
And within each track, you put a value block. And the value can go to a Lightning address, or I operate a Hive. So you can just literally put your Hive name in there.
Perfect.
And then there's a bunch of players that are coming up now: Fountain, Podverse, CurioCaster, Castomatic. These are all apps that recognize this format, recognize the music, and play music. And what this is it's small right now, but there's more than 5,000 tracks in it.
Yes.
But the artists are connected directly to their audience. No ASCAP, BMI, EMI, Polygon. None of those guys get any. None of the suits. We are cutting the suits and the Spotifys and the Apple Musics. We're cutting them out of the loop.
Yep.
And I presented it here because we don't really have tools on this for Hive.
Yes.
But we could.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm presenting, because I want more devs to come and say, hey, I think I can build a front end for that bit.
Yep.
And we can start hosting music, and we could build a fantastic music publishing front end for this. And all the protocol level stuff, it's done.
Yes.
It's there, and I can show you the documentation and how to do it. And then what we bring to it, what isn't there now, is we bring the community, we bring the commenting, we bring the feedback loops that make all of this. And then an artist gets to have their music in one place, monetize the music in one place, and build community.
Of course.
And, sell the t-shirts. I mean, the stuff we were hearing earlier about shops, that's where you sell the merch. That's how you do it.
Absolutely.
All of it can be centered on a Hive account.
It's really interesting because, of course, when we get out there, people go, okay, what does Hive do? And you can't just be like, everything, even though it's true. It's a really bad answer. But when you start kind of connecting these dots, that's really where things come together is, yes, I make music. Yes, I need to connect to people who listen to my music. Yes, people who listen to my music want to buy merch. Yes, they want to write about my... And all of a sudden you do. A feedback loop is a great way of putting it. But again, it comes back to that idea of circular economies. And if you guys are watching the streams today, you're going to hear that a lot. The idea of generating value inside an ecosystem and then spending it again. And everybody kind of creating a new economy and opting out of a fiat one. And so in a lot of cases, that's where we're at.
Well, that's the thing with the Lightning, is that there are ways, especially in America, even in America where crypto is sort of crunched down,
Lightning's a big
Cash App
one.
lets you buy $15 of Lightning.
Yep.
And that what you then do is you take your $15 of Lightning from Cash App, you put it in Fountain, and this is where I do like Lightning. And I wouldn't even want to replace Lightning with Hive.
Yeah.
Because for those disposable wallets that you keep in your podcasting app, Lightning is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
You put $15 in. When it's gone, you top it up and put $15 more. And then look, either you're spending $15 a month on Spotify, or you're putting it in your value for value music app.
Yeah.
And when you listen to a track, it goes to the artist.
It's huge.
And it goes to the drummer, and it goes to the bassist, and the drummer, obviously, only if the drummer is still alive and hasn't spontaneously combusted or choked on vomit.
Yeah,
somebody
exactly.
else's.
So, I mean, yeah, it's funny to think of, and of course we're actually like knocking down the house back here, but it's funny. I love technical.
I'm going to lean back. I'm now tired.
Okay, so I'm gonna let you know. Just remember the cameras are gonna look directly up your nose. So as long as you're accepting of that and you've done some good
I haven't
grooming,
waxed recently.
Yeah, you've done some good manscaping, then you're good. But yeah, so for me, I think this is a great idea. And of course, you guys that are watching, a question.
Yes.
Yeah, let's do it.
So,
Now I'm back.
Brian, how do you see Hive in 5 years? I mean, comprehensively as a blockchain and as a coin in the market, how much do you think it will reach in 5 years? $3, $5, or $10?
Not financial advice.
Not financial advice. Do you know what? I so don't care about the token price.
Yeah. Okay.
I only care about utility. And I mean, that's one of the things. I think, not to be too bold, but Podping, which is one of the underlying technologies of Podcasting 2.0.
Yeah.
And none of you need to know what it is or how it works, but I'm telling you this, it will be a core protocol of the internet. It already kind of is heading that way.
It's used hugely.
Yeah.
Hugely.
Three or four, I think it's doing between 2,000 and 3,000 transactions an hour.
Wild.
And it has been doing that for 2 years without missing.
So this is great because I use this example a lot, and I know we're getting off the question and we'll come back to the question, but so often, when I'm talking to people about scalability and whatever, these types of examples are so valuable. So Splinterlands, 2 billion on-chain, billion with a B, on-chain transactions, 0 fees paid. 3,000 transactions an hour,
for
every hour for 2 solid years. 0 fees paid.
Yeah.
That's wild.
I don't like to tell people it's 0 fees paid, but for the investment of about $4,000 held, and that $4,000 is mine. It's still.
You are not meant to have a background. It's gone.
Matter.
It's gone.
The background's nice enough.
It's fine. We got a cactus behind us. Let's just look at the cactus. Forget
the point is just holding Hive is what is necessary.
Absolutely.
So that's why token price. Look, of course, when Moon, I'd love to buy a Lamborghini, but it's not on my roadmap immediately.
Yes.
A house would be good, but these are. I don't foresee cashing out so much, but I think at some point a tipping point happens. And Podping is one of those things. Splinterlands. These are proper business use cases.
Yes.
That can't be done any other way. And what Podping is interesting is that it's being used. I would say that there are now 10 or 12 real companies that make real profits.
Yep.
That serve real podcast hosting companies and indexing systems that rely on Podping.
Yeah.
And so therefore they rely on Hive, and they might not even realize it.
Yeah,
but
it's true.
They would miss it if it were gone, and that means that they literally know that they would pay to have it.
Yep.
Even if right now I don't make them pay.
Well, and that's the first step, right? Is getting people to understand value beyond value, and we talk about that a lot. Where a lot of blockchains are built specifically for a financial number from here to there, and that's it. And of course, everything we're building here encompasses so much more than that. But and coming back around, there was a point where you said, well, I don't want Hive to be Lightning. And I actually agree with that. And it can be a contentious statement in our ecosystem because everybody loves Hive. You want to be a maxi. I'm a crypto maxi, and I believe very strongly that where our matches in the future are will be Hive does things that no other blockchain does. So find other blockchains, find other businesses, and be like, here's the solution that you've been missing. Just grab it and take it. So, I mean, I envision the same world where a lot of these things are intertwined and they're working really well together. Is there another sort of blockchain or another like dream use case where you would see Hive kind of slotting into as a missing link,
Well, the music is particularly important.
Of course,
because it does combine the financial side that we're good at and the social side that we're good at, and nothing else beats it.
Yep.
Now, the Lightning for the micropayments, hour by hour, minute by minute, it's got its place. I struggle, I struggle to see the point of a lot of blockchain stuff, I must admit.
It's true.
Especially, DeFi, it just seems to be a great way to get scammed. But, and I'm a great fan of the idea of NFTs, of sort of monetizing achievement and ownership of digital items. But unfortunately, the Ethereum people have just not been good stewards of that idea, I think.
Well, and it's tricky because again, we're talking about human nature, and I think they're finishing up over there, so we'll
And I
come
should
kind
have
of
been
to the.
watching that too.
Well,
That's
it's
the
fine. You
trouble
watch
with
it
this
after.
format.
Conference time is always tricky. You're pulled in every direction, and people would have been deprived of your insights.
I
So
know, I
suck it
know.
up. You get to watch that one on the replay.
I will.
But yeah, so they'll ask a couple questions, but just kind of coming back around is. We're finishing up here. What have you got going on for the last bit of the year? So you're here in sunny Mexico, and then what are you doing for the rest of the year?
Well, I'm back to Israel, but I've got a few days here.
Yeah.
I've got to say that I just raised this mostly for Andrew if he ever sees this. This weekend was slightly problematic because of Yom Kippur.
Of course.
So it's Yom Kippur on Sunday night into Monday, and
Are you going to observe or?
Well, it's very difficult to sort of go on a full fast when you're not in the setting of going to a synagogue and all that stuff. So I don't know what I'll do. I'll find my own internal way to to observe what it means. So that was problematic.
Yes.
But I understand these things. Scheduling is never easy for a large group. But yeah, for the rest of the year, I've got stuff I want to work on. I want to develop V4V a little bit more. I'm still trying to make it. I want other people to run it.
Yes.
And that's a long-term goal. Because,
of course, yeah.
Because there's certain skills that I've had to learn running the Lightning side that I will have to pass on, and I don't know. I haven't met anyone who wants to learn them yet.
That's just it. You're going to have to educate for 2 blockchains.
Yeah, and the Lightning side really is the one. I wrote the code 2 years ago. And I've barely touched it.
And you're looking at it now, and you're like,
amazing.
what
And
was I
and
doing?
I can't understand it. I dump it into ChatGPT and say, what did I do?
Please help.
How does this work? Document this code, please.
That's fantastic. I mean, it's a pretty useful coding tool.
The best line in ChatGPT is you just dump in a chunk of code and you say docstring.
Interesting, yeah. So, I mean, I haven't played around with it too much, but I mean, hey, this is a question on everybody's
The
minds.
only
Everybody's
reason
using it for
I
everything.
am a front-end JavaScript developer in the last 6 months
Yes.
is ChatGPT.
So there you go. It's fascinating.
It's
I mean, for
100%.
everybody worried that it's going to take our jobs, the other aspect is it's going to extend our capabilities
I used it
too.
for 2 days and immediately got out my credit card and paid them.
Yeah.
Take my money, please.
Yeah.
Take my money. Because it is a massive force multiplier. If you know what you're doing,
Well, and that's it.
you have to know what you're doing. Garbage in, garbage out. But
Yeah.
boy, it really helps.
Blockades is running away. I kept trying to get him over here, but he's making a run for it. Sorry, guys, but we will get him. We're going to put him in the hot seat. All right. So get your photo taken. And then we'll kind of wrap her up. So we'll bring Neo back in, and if there's anything you
All
want to
right.
say, you've got a
I'm gonna
captive
say-
audience.
Well, thank you very much. Vote for proposal 265. Maybe unvote the return for a little bit. I could do with $75. But anyway, no, it's great. I love the community. I love the support I get. And I just love it when people use V4V.App and all the other stuff. So,
Yeah. Brian
okay,
of
Neo,
London.
you're up.
Brian of London in Mexico, all around cool guy.
Oh no, it's me again. Thank you, Brian.